How's everybody doing? My name is Friedrich. I'm the owner-driver for CFRacing, and welcome to our June monthly update race video. We do have a lot to talk about today, so I'm going to start jumping right into it. I don't want to take too long before my wife hits muscle failure while holding up the camera, filming me, listening to me talk for too long a period of time. So you see a lot of pieces here on the workbench, and so I got 2 pages of notes to go through, so yeah, quite a bit. So yeah, let's jump right into it. First off, I want to make an announcement. We are going to bring on a new primary sponsor, Kristin Murphy. She was the real estate agent who helped us move up into this area, helped us find this house. So just a few things that I'd like to say about our experience working with Kristin. Coming up here, we had a whole lot of moving pieces. So she was very, very professional, very flexible, knew the area really well, and she went above and beyond what she needed to do to help us find this place and get situated. So, for example, the box that we were working in, moving up into the area, was a very small box. She also helped us with looking outside the box a little bit to find the place that we needed. And the house that we got, I'd say that Malou and the kids are pretty satisfied with the house. And then also I got this nice little race shop in here where I got the tools and the go-kart stage for working on the go-kart. So yeah, pretty excited to have Kristin Murphy. She's with Mission Realty, which is brokered by EXP. And anybody who's moving out of the area, I recommend using her as a referral for wherever they're going to. Anybody coming up in the Fort Lee, or now known as Fort Greg Adams area, I recommend reaching out to her and using her as your resource for whatever real estate needs that you have. Of course, I'll have her website and her email address in the description below. And as you all know, I've also been a licensed real estate agent in North Carolina. So knowing real estate agents, I can definitely vouch as a fellow real estate agent. I can vouch for her that she's definitely somebody to use as a resource for your real estate needs. So again, glad to bring on Kristin Murphy with Mission Realty, brokered by EXP, on board with us. And of course, as a sponsor, you're not just putting your sticker on or decal on our go-kart, you're considered a member of our team. Also want to thank Tibby Gyms for their continued support. Tibby Gyms is an online sales website. They provide cheap settings and gemstones for basically do-it-yourselfer home projects that people may have with making their own jewelry. So with the sponsor news getting out of the way, let's go ahead and move that out of the way, because like I said, we got a long list of things to go through. So I'm going to cover as much as I can as quickly. Well, I'm going to cover everything as quickly as we can, or as quickly as I can. And I'm just going to go in the order as it is from our SOP tear down checklist. So first part is we've getting a little bit of work done with the master cylinder. We've got this master cylinder disconnected, and the master cylinder piston spring inserted into the master cylinder piston. That was really an easy task to complete. We have sanded the brake. This is the brake pedal. We've sanded the brake pedal, and as you can see, one side is white, the other side is gray. So we're actually in the process of painting the brake pedal. We've removed the flywheel cover, and have also gotten the flywheel cover really clean up. This sucker gets really dirty on race weekends, and now we got it pretty well cleaned up. The next step was to check the air gap, the armature air gap, which is right here. And it really should have been clean the engine first, but this SOP is a working project. I got to keep going in and re-editing it, but that's how it goes sometimes. But we did check the air gap. Basically, what I'm looking for here is a solid measurement, and then if I feel like there's a change in engine performance, I want this to be a go-to to check. That armature should not move, but you never know. Sometimes it may. For the clutch, we got some pieces right down here. We removed the sprocket end snap ring, and then the sprocket in place spacers. We've also removed separated the engine mount base from the engine mount top. We've gotten we've cleaned up the engine mount butterflies. I had to really scrub those with a wire brush, get a lot of the dirt and grime off of it. We've removed the butterfly or breather catch can fittings, and we've cleaned them up nice, got them nice and clean, and also cleaned up the breather catch can. So this is just something, this actually with this tube right here hooks up to, so every engine's got to be able to breathe. So the inside of the engine breathes out through the valve cover, and sometimes it can spit oil out, and then this is going to catch the oil and keep it from going onto the track. So we've got that nice and cleaned up. We've gone into our tachometer here and gone through the data and collected all the data, written it down onto on our notes. And I've also went through and cleared out the data, and we've gotten the tachometer cleaned up. Let's go to the back side of page 1. Let's see. I've got removed throttle pedal from the throttle rod. Here's the throttle pedal. Remove throttle cable cover from floor pan throttle bracket. That's going to be this guy. Remove throttle cable from throttle cable cover. So there's that guy. Remove throttle L bracket, and then we're going to clean that up. All these pieces still need to be cleaned up. And this is also going to, this pedal, this is going to get painted gray as well. I'm just not a fan of chrome. Some people are. I'm not a fan of chrome at all. We're going to paint that one gray, and then remove our index throttle pedal grip. So this guy right here, you see, I put a little white mark. So when I go and put it back onto the throttle pedal, there's a little notch that I put in right there, where you might not be able to see it on the camera, but I got a little notch right there where I put it in and be able to line it right back up where it came off. Because obviously after this gets painted, it's going to be hard to know exactly where it went. So I've got a little notch in there. Let's see, where was I? Index, removed. Oh, and I've cleaned up the throttle pedal grip. So this is already cleaned up, ready to go back on when that's painted. All right, we'll move. There's so much stuff. I've had to move it all, wrap it around the go-kart as we go along. So we're going to work off the floor on this part here. Got the fuel line cleaned up. Clean up the fuel tank mounts. Cleaned up the fuel tank. So all that stuff's ready to go on. Removed and cleaned the pre-filter outer wears, and have also cleaned up the air filters. So all those have been cleaned up. Clean fairing. Actually, so this guy should be out here on the floor too. This is the fairing, so it's cleaned up. And the fairing rod, which is actually already, see, steering wheel is still a little bit loose, not installed yet. So this is the fairing rod, but it's cleaned up, and I'm not counting that as installed yet until the fairing is installed. As I've covered in previous videos, we don't consider a component installed on the go-kart until all the pieces that are also attached to the go-kart, or to that piece, are installed. So I got my thumb here trying to keep track of where we are. Removed front bumper L brackets, which is all these guys, and I even went through and indexed where they go on the front bumper. Got those cleaned up, clean front bumper L brackets, and we've also cleaned up the front bumper. Normally I would sand this during the off season, but we sanded it and painted it during the off season. We painted it last time, and it's got literally 2 race weekends on it, so we're not going to be painting that. but the front bumper is cleaned up. The side Nerf bars, this one is the right side, same thing, we're not going to paint this, just got it cleaned up, and the left side's cleaned up, that's over here too. Clean up the Nerf bar bushings, and that's all of page 1. We'll move over to page 2. The tires, we got the tires cleaned up. They may still look a little bit dusty and dirty from the camera, but that's, you know, that's just how tires are. They're always never going to get them 100% clean. Disassembled rear bumper mount kit. That's all these pieces here in this baggie. It's like 6 different pieces, so I just stuck them in the baggie to keep them all together. Oh yeah, some things I didn't bring in here, like the body, and there's going to be a few other pieces we're going to talk about that I didn't bring in here, but I've also measured out the dimensions for the decal, so I would have had the body on here and showed where I was going to put the decals and measure them out, but we've done that, and I've also been starting to reach out to people who do decal work in the area. Haven't made contact with anybody yet. If anybody knows anybody in this area that does decals, let me know, and I'll be glad to reach out to them and hopefully send some business their way. But we've also got the weights cleaned up, so those are ready to be bolted back on. We removed the visor from the helmet. That needs to be cleaned. But the helmet itself, we've gotten that nice and clean. Well, some parts don't exactly come clean. And then yeah, some things I would, like I said, just not going to be bringing in here. We've got the neck brace cover cleaned up, cleaned the jacket up, cleaned the gloves up, checked the bolt bend for restock, checking the shells for restock, cleaned up the air compressor, cleaned up the air tank. I got clean the outside of the trailer. That's another thing. I wasn't going to bring the air compressor and air tank in here, and you can't bring the trailer in here. But the cleaning the outside of the trailer was a whole bit needed. So in that house in High Point, you know, our vehicles were living underneath trees, and as I was wiping down the outside of the trailer, you can see where I wiped and where I didn't wipe. It was that grimy. So it's cleaned up and ready to have some decals put on it. So that's pretty much all the stuff that I've gotten done. There's still some more stuff, background scenes. I would like to have said the things that we've had installed on the go-kart, but you see the pile of things that need to be worked on is getting smaller, but as you see, the pile of things that are being worked on and ready to go back onto the go-kart has gotten bigger. So doing a lot of work down here in the past month since our last video. So some upcoming projects that I hope to have completed by the time we do our video next month is to have, we talked about the master cylinder, so I hope to have that completed and installed. Have the catch can installed, we talked about that. We talked about the tachometer and have that installed. The fuel tank, all the pieces on that are cleaned up and have the fuel tank installed. The fairing rod, all we got to do is attach the fairing onto that. Install the front bumper in the Nerf bars. Install the rear bumper. So with all those pieces, you see that we got those all cleaned up. And all the weights are cleaned up, so install the weights on the seat. I've also been heading out to Capitol Speedway. I've spent the last 2 weekends out at Capitol Speedway, linked up with Cameron Wood and helping his group of guys. They've been pretty welcoming to me coming out there and helping out, and they've also been spitting information my way, some things to learn and pick up what they're putting down to hopefully help me when I get out to that track and improve our performance. But it's been great being out there the last 2 weeks, meeting him and that group of guys and being part of that and just being back at the track and helping out. And basically what I've been doing is pushing their go-karts to the grid and bringing them back. And Just that itself is a lot of work. They seem pretty appreciative of it, but yeah, really good being back at the track. And but we are anticipating racing by the end of August or at least early September, and that's actually when Capital Speedway picks back up, is beginning of September. But there's other tracks in the area we can go to as well. So with that, we'll wrap things up. If anybody else is interested in having their name slapped on the go-kart as either a secondary or associate sponsor, we'd be glad to bring you on board and help get some exposure for your business. And as always, like we always say, when you have your name put on our go-kart, we don't just consider you somebody we're just advertising for. We consider you somebody who's part of the team. If anybody who wants to come by and help out and be part of the team by getting hands on this stuff, please let me know. We'd be glad to have you come over and help out. As you can see, we got a lot of work to do, a lot of projects to do, and definitely could use the help. And with that said, I do want to thank my little tadpole helper. Believe it or not, as I've said in other videos, tadpole Thaddeus, he's our 3-year-old boy. He's been coming down here and helping out, and has been turning a wrench or two. Doesn't do a whole lot, but does do some. And last but not least, I want to thank Lou for filming this video. With that being said, excuse me, I'm going to need to wrap this up and get a drink of water. Thanks for watching the video. Please make sure to hit like, subscribe, comment, rate, share, all of the above. And next month, can't wait to show you more that we got completed on this go-kart and all the projects that we've made some progress on. Until then, have a good one.